Friday night, Stanford played against TCU, and I'm just watching this game, and I'm like, how is Stanford gonna win this game? But then TCU put the hammer on them. I'm like, all right, okay. And then they're gonna cover, and I'm like, all right, great. So y'all two picked Stanford plus 9.5. I'm the only one who took TCU minus 9.5. I'm like, let's go, easy cover. And then Stanford just kicked an FU field goal at the end of the game. Not an FU field goal. It was legitimate. It was a good.
You had to do that.
Yeah, they had to do that, right? Because then they were gonna get the onside kick, hopefully, and then score a touchdown, which didn't end up happening. I mean, TCU outgained Stanford by 200 yards on offense, or almost 200 yards on offense. Josh Hoover looked pretty good. Cam Cook looked awesome. Uh, how was Stanford in this game, by the way? Explain this to me.
Well, so it almost turned into a TCU classic where we saw
Yeah,
last year against Colorado. They lost that game, and you're like, they looked good, so good for most of the game, and then certain key plays, penalties. You had 100 yards and penalties. You had two turnovers, key fumbles. You gave short fields for Stanford. You let Daniels really get after you on the ground. But damn it, man, Hoover looked good. I like the weapons there for TCU. Savion Williams is a dog. I am a guy that and back to holy cow. I am a guy that really underestimated JP Richardson. Right, I took his under this week, and I was like,
it's over.
his over was great, over 100 yards. I mean, he looked really really good. And Cam Cook too ran the ball well, as well. So we'll see. I mean, my the concerns about Stanford we had was a little bit in that running back room. And if Daniels is going to be your best runner this year, that's not a good sign. That's not going to be able to translate, especially going on the road across the country. I mean, A.O. Manor's a stud, and I want to see more consistency from guys like Harris and Bachmeyer, right, and Sissy, right, like guys like that to be a little bit better. But damn it, man, Stanford, it was fun. It was exciting. Like they competed in that football game. Troy Taylor, like Sanford, if they can get a ground and pound game, they can actually run the football. I do think they're going to give teams problems in the ACC. Maybe not win all these games, but I think they're going to
Yeah.
be a hell of a matchup nightmare. With Daniel's legs and the talent he has around him with A.O. Manor.
Yeah. Honestly, I know Stanford like almost won this game, but I almost feel worse about them, to be honest. Like I know you're talking about like, oh, if they can establish a run game, I don't know if that's gonna
Yeah.
happen, right? Like you're really depending on kind of explosives and talented wide receiver room and a quarterback that's been able to get it done before, but and I don't know that TCU is going to be one of the better defenses that you see this year. I know they just got Andy Avalos. It's too early to tell, right? Whether TCU's defense is looking a lot better or not. I'm a little bit concerned about the Stanford team, not gonna lie. So I know we were both we didn't bet this, but we're both on the over Stanford, right? When we were picking preseason over under win totals for every team on the over 3.5. I know it's doable with the schedule, and I know that the line was 9.5. So like, what was I expecting anyways? And I took TCU minus 9.5, but just the such supreme lack of a run game, and I didn't think Ashton Daniels was like incredible by any stretch of the imagination. I don't know. Maybe it's too early to tell, right? Maybe it's just way too early to tell. But I don't feel I don't feel better about Stanford after this game. If that makes sense.
Well, yes, yes, totally. Well, listen, especially over at TCU now. I mean, you look at they got a pretty tough schedule. They do, right? Kansas on the road, Utah on the road, Oklahoma State and Arizona as well in November, as well as just like a random at SMU, who, by the way, like they could and probably should probably win that football game. But again, it's not like it's going to be an easy football game to win, even on the road, even though it's a short distance away, right? Going over just in the Dallas Fort Worth area. But I don't know. I think Hoover, I mean, 350 yards looked pretty good. I thought it was fine. Like I want to see less penalties. I want to see cleaner football for sure. A little bit less missed tackles, especially on the quarterback. But other than that, like you had Marcel Brooks make some plays. Like you made some plays that gave you when you needed them. Like you needed plays, and you had 4 sacks, right? 10 tackles for loss. Like it was good stuff. I thought it was good stuff.